Welcome back to the channel, coin enthusiasts. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of UK 1 penny coins minted during the reign of King George VI. These coins hold a special place in numismatic history, and some of them have become highly sought after by collectors. Let's count down the top 4 rarest and most valuable 1 penny coins from the King George VI era. 1935 UK 1 penny. The 1935 UK 1 penny features the portrait of King George V, the British monarch at the time. This coin is part of the long-running British penny series, which has been around for centuries, but today we're honing in on the 1935 version, a coin from an important time in British history. On the obverse or front side of the coin, you'll see a profile of King George V, who reigned from 1910 until his death in 1936. The inscription around his portrait reads, Georgius V. Dei Grae Brit Amen Rex Fi Def in Emp, which translates to George V, by the grace of God, King of all Britons, Defender of the Faith, Emperor of India, pretty regal.
Right.
Now, on the reverse, we have the classic image of Britannia seated with her shield and trident. This symbol of British strength and protection had been a hallmark of the penny for many years. Below Britannia is the year of minting 1935. Let's take a step back in time to 1935. King George V was nearing the end of his reign, and the world was still recovering from the Great Depression. The British Empire, though vast, was starting to feel the pressures of global economic and political changes. This penny, produced during a period of transition, reflects a significant era in British history, especially as King George V's death in 1936 would eventually lead to the brief reign of his son, Edward VIII, and the famous abdication crisis. So when you hold a 1935 penny, you're holding a piece of that pivotal time. Now, let's talk about the technical details. The 1935 UK 1 penny is made from 95.5% copper, 3% tin, and 1.5% zinc, a common composition for pennies of that era. Its diameter is 30.8 mm, and it weighs 9.45 grams. Over time, these coins can develop a nice patina due to the copper content, which can affect its appearance and value. Coins in better condition, especially with minimal wear and tear, are always more desirable to collectors. All right. Let's get to the part you've been waiting for. What is the 1935 UK 1 penny worth today? Well, the value of this coin depends on its condition, or what we call grade in the coin collecting world. A worn 1935 penny in lower grades, such as good or fine, might fetch around PS1 to PS5, but if you have a well-preserved coin in extremely fine condition, it could be worth up to PS2 or more. And if you're lucky enough to have an uncirculated version with no wear, you're looking at values around PS50 to PS1000 or possibly higher at auction. However, it's important to note that prices fluctuate depending on market demand, the specific characteristics of your coin, and the interest of collectors at the time. 1916 UK 1 penny. Let's talk about the history behind the 1916 UK 1 penny. By 1916, World War I was in full swing, and the United Kingdom was deeply involved in the global conflict. This period brought numerous changes to the British economy, including the coins in circulation. Though this penny was minted in the midst of war, its design remained largely consistent with other pennies minted before and after. The UK penny, including the 1916 version, features the iconic Britannia, the personification of Britain. Britannia sits holding a trident and shield, symbolizing British naval power. King George V, who reigned from 1910 to 1936, is featured on the obverse or head side with a portrait designed by Bertram McKennell. This copper coin represents not only the era's artistic craftsmanship, but also Britain's enduring strength during turbulent times. The 1916 penny wasn't particularly rare when it was first minted, as millions were produced, but there are certain factors that can make these coins highly collectible today. Now let's talk about the part we're all waiting for, the value of a 1916 penny today. Like all coins, the value of a 1916 penny depends on a few key factors: its condition, rarity, and demand among collectors. Coins are graded on a scale ranging from good, which is heavily worn and not very valuable, all the way up to uncirculated, where the coin shows no signs of wear and is in pristine condition. A 1916 UK penny in good condition might fetch anywhere from PS1 to PS3, depending on market demand. On the other hand, a penny in extremely fine condition can sell for upwards of PS20 to PS20 to PS50. And if you're lucky enough to have an uncirculated version, the value could reach PS1000 or more. But remember, rarity also plays a role. While millions of these pennies were minted, some might have unique characteristics like misprints or mint errors, which can add significant value. So, if you're thinking about adding a 1916 UK penny to your collection, here are a few tips. First, always check for minting errors. Any unusual details, such as a misaligned strike, can greatly increase the value of your coin. Second, try to find the coin in the best condition possible. Even minor wear can lower its value significantly. Finally, always store your coins properly. Keep them in protective cases and away from moisture to prevent corrosion. By following these simple steps, you can preserve your penny's value for years to come. Before we wrap up, here are some fun facts about the 1916 UK penny. Did you know that this coin is made from bronze with 95% copper? The rest is made up of tin and zinc. Also, the penny weighed 9.4 grams, making it heavier than today's 1p coin. And one last interesting tidbit: by 1916, the penny had been in circulation for over 50 years with Britannia on the reverse, showing the coin's long-standing cultural significance in Britain. 1928 UK 1 penny. Today we're focusing on a coin that holds a special place in British history, the 1928 UK 1 penny. In this video, we'll cover its design, the historical context, and its current value in the collector's market. So stay tuned. Let's start by taking a closer look at the design. The 1928 penny features two iconic designs that were standard on British pennies at the time. In the obverse, that's the head side, you'll see a portrait of King George V, the reigning monarch of the time. This engraving was done by Bertram McKennell and shows the king in profile facing left. Around the portrait, the inscription reads Georgives v di Grey Brit Alman Rex Fi DFE and MP, which is Latin for George V, by the grace of God, King of all Britons, Defender of the Faith, Emperor of India. Quite a mouthful. Right. On the reverse, the tail side, we have Britannia, a personification of Britain. She's seated with a shield in one hand and a trident in the other, representing British naval power. Below her is the word 1 penny in the year 1928. This design was used on pennies from 1860 all the way to 1970, making it a long-standing symbol of the British Empire. Now let's talk about what was happening in Britain when this coin was minted. The year 1928 was in the interwar period, a time of relative peace but also economic challenges. King George V had been on the throne since 1910, and Britain was still dealing with the aftermath of World War I. While the country was trying to rebuild, the British Empire was still vast, and its currency, like this penny, was used all around the world. This penny, like others minted during this era, reflects the stability of British coinage and the influence of Britain on global trade. So how many of these 1928 pennies were minted? And how rare are they? Well, approximately 50 million pennies were struck that year. This makes the 1928 penny not particularly rare in terms of mintage numbers. However, its condition, often referred to as its grade, can make a huge difference in its value today. When assessing the value of a coin like this, collectors consider the coin's condition. A well-worn 1928 penny might only be worth a few pounds or dollars, but if you find one in mint condition, meaning it has almost no wear and looks brand new, its value can be significantly higher. So, what's the current value of the 1928 UK 1 penny? In average circulated condition, these coins typically sell for around PS1 to PS5, depending on the wear. However, if you come across one in extremely fine or even uncirculated condition, the value can go up to PS25 or more. The market for these coins is quite active, and collectors often look for pennies with minimal wear and strong details on both the obverse and reverse. Another thing to keep in mind is whether the coin has any unique characteristics like errors or unusual markings. While the 1928 penny doesn't have any notable mint errors that would make it more valuable, it's always a good idea to carefully inspect your coin. 1913 UK 1 penny. The year was 1913, and on the throne of the United Kingdom sat King George V. After a tumultuous early 20th century, with the rise of industrialization and global tension, the UK's coinage continued to evolve. The 1913 penny was part of a series minted under the reign of King George V, often referred to as the Georgia coin in numismatic circles, after the monarch's name. The 1913 1 penny is unique because it reflects a period of stability before the outbreak of World War I the following year. This coin is copper, with a weight of 9.45 grams and a diameter of 30.8 millimeters. The design remained relatively consistent throughout George V's reign, featuring his effigy on the obverse and the iconic seated Britannia on the reverse. Let's take a closer look at the details of the 1913 1 penny. On the obverse, we have the classic portrait of King George V, designed by Bertram McKennell. The inscription around the king reads Georgives v di Agra Brit Alman Rex Fi DF Imp, which is Latin for George V, by the grace of God, King of all the Britons, Defender of the Faith, Emperor of India. Quite a title. On the reverse, we see the seated figure of Britannia holding her trident and shield, with the inscription 1 penny at the top and the year 1913 below. This symbol of British strength and unity had been a staple of the penny design for decades and is one of the most iconic images in British coinage. Now let's talk mintage. In 1913, the Royal Mint struck 47,940,000 pennies. While that number may sound high, the coin's condition plays a major role in determining its rarity and value today. As with any collectible coin, the more pristine the condition, the more valuable it is. Coins graded as uncirculated or in mint state MS condition can fetch significantly higher prices compared to worn or circulated versions. So, what's the value of a 1913 UK 1 penny today? Well, it depends on the coin's grade. Here's a rough breakdown based on condition. Heavily worn good to very good condition, these coins typically fetch $1 to $5 USD. Fine to very fine condition coins in this range sell for around $10 to $20 USD. Extremely fine condition XF, these pennies can be valued at $40 to $60 USD. In uncirculated condition MS high grade examples, particularly in MS 60 or higher, can command prices anywhere from $100 to $300 USD or even more, depending on market demand. Of course, these prices can vary slightly depending on the auction house dealer or the current state of the numismatic market. Coins with unique features, such as misstrikes or significant die variations, could be worth even more to specialized collectors. The 2p coin has been a staple of British currency since the decimalisation of the UK's monetary system in 1971. Before that, the British pound was divided into 240 pence, with a range of confusing denominations like shillings and crowns. Decimalisation simplified the system where 100 pence equals £1. But what makes the 2000 version of this coin so special? Well, we first need to understand that, like many coins in circulation, this 2p piece was part of a long-standing tradition featuring Queen Elizabeth II on the side and the familiar depiction of the badge of the Prince of Wales on the reverse. Let's take a closer look at the design of this coin. On the obverse, or the front, we have a portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. This specific portrait is known as the fourth portrait designed by Ian Rank Broadley. You'll notice Her Majesty facing to the right, wearing the Girls of Great Britain. This portrait was used on UK coins from 1998 until 2015. Now, flipping the coin over on the reverse, we see the badge of the Prince of Wales, a classic design for the 2p coin. This badge shows 3 ostrich feathers emerging from a coronet with a ribbon below, which translates from German as "I serve." This design has been in use on 2p coins since they were first introduced in 1971. The material used in minting the 2p coin has changed over time. Originally, from 1971 until September 1992, 2p coins were made from bronze. But after that, due to rising metal costs, the Royal Mint switched to a copper-plated steel composition, which is what you'll find in the 2000 coin. So if you're holding a 2000 UK 2p coin, it's likely made of copper-plated steel. However, the shift in composition doesn't affect the coin's appearance, as both the bronze and copper-plated steel coins retain that iconic coppery color. Now let's talk rarity. Unfortunately, the 2000 2p coin isn't considered rare. In fact, millions of these coins were minted for circulation. The Royal Mint produced large quantities of the 2p coin every year to meet demand, and 2000 was no exception. So in terms of rarity, this coin is quite common. However, there's a key detail you might want to keep in mind. While the 2000 2p coin is common, collectors might still find some value in it, especially if it's in uncirculated condition. A coin that's never been used and is free from scratches or wear could fetch a higher price. An uncirculated 2000 2p coin might be worth around 50p to PS1 depending on the buyer and market demand. Additionally, if you come across an error coin such as one with a minting mistake like an off-center strike or a double die error, you could have something that's worth much more. The error coins can sometimes go for hundreds of pounds at auction. So how can you check if your 2000 UK 2p coin is worth more than face value? First, take a good look at the condition of the coin. Is it shiny and uncirculated, or does it show signs of wear? If you're unsure, you can always get your coin graded by a professional. Next, look closely for any errors. Does the coin appear unusual in any way? An error coin can be a real treasure, so it's worth checking carefully. 1993 UK 2 new pence. Now let's take a closer look at the 1993 UK 2 new pence coin itself. On the obverse side of the coin, we have the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. The portrait was designed by artist Raphael Makhlouf and had been used on British coins from 1985 until 1997. The Queen is depicted wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. Moving to the reverse side of the coin, we see the iconic depiction of the Prince of Wales feathers, accompanied by the motto Ich diene, which means "I serve" in German. This emblem has long been associated with the heir to the British throne, making the 2p coin part of British royal symbolism. Coins with the new pence inscription were generally replaced by 2p coins after 1982. However, the 1993 issue, along with a few others from the early 1990s, continued to bear the original new pence wording. Why? Most of these were minted for special sets, and a smaller number of them may have entered general circulation. This means that, depending on your luck, you might find a 1993 2 new pence coin in circulation, though they're relatively uncommon compared to other 2p coins. So the big question is, how much is a 1993 2 new pence coin worth today? In circulated condition, these coins usually have modest value, typically ranging from 10p to 50p. However, if you have a well-preserved example in uncirculated or mint condition, it could be worth a bit more. Prices for these better quality coins tend to hover between PS1 and PS5. If the coin comes from a special collector's set, the value could be even higher, depending on the demand and the set it originally came from. As always, the value of any coin depends on its condition, rarity, and the current market for collectors. Several factors can influence the value of the 1993 2 new pence coins, such as condition. The better the condition, the higher the value. Mint condition coins fetch the highest prices. Rarity coins from 1993 that were minted for circulation are rarer, as many were part of special sets. Collector demand. If collectors are particularly interested in the new pence coins or coins from the 1990s, prices may increase. Always keep an eye on online auctions, coin dealers, and collector groups to stay updated on current values. The 1993 UK 2 new pence coin may seem like a small part of British coinage history, but it carries an interesting backstory and some value for collectors. Whether you have one in your collection or come across one in your change, it's definitely worth holding on to. 1971 UK 2 new pence. In 1971, the United Kingdom underwent a major change in its currency system known. Prior to this, British currency was based on the pounds, shillings, and pence system, which had been in use for centuries. But on February 15, 1971, also known as Decimal Day, the UK switched to a decimal currency system. This meant the introduction of new coins, including the 2 new pence, which was part of the early decimal coinage. The coin we're focusing on today was the very first of this kind, minted in 1971, and features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse side. Let's take a closer look at the design. The obverse or front side of the coin features a young portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machine. This design was used on many British coins between 1968 and 1984. Surrounding her image, you'll see the inscription Elizabeth II DG, Reg, FD Latin for Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen Defender of the Faith. On the reverse side, we have the badge of the Prince of Wales, featuring a plume of 3 ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet. Beneath the badge, you'll find the words new pence and the number 2 indicating the coin's value. This reverse design was created by Christopher Ironside. Now, let's talk about what you've all been waiting for: the value of the 1971 UK 2 new pence coin. Since this coin was minted in large numbers and was in circulation for many years, it's generally not considered rare. However, its condition plays a key role in determining its value. If you have a well-circulated version, it's likely worth only its face value, about 2 pence. But for collectors, uncirculated or proof versions of this coin can be worth significantly more. A brilliant uncirculated coin could fetch between PS1 and PS3, while proof versions may sell for PS5 to PS10. In some rare cases, coins with errors or unique features might sell for higher amounts at auctions. So while the 1971 2 new pence coin might not make you rich, it's still a valuable piece of British numismatic history, especially if you're a collector. It marks the beginning of the decimal era and features iconic designs that make it a great addition to any collection. 1975 UK 2 new pence. First, let's start with the obverse. The obverse of the 1975 2 new pence coin features a portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. This particular portrait was designed by Arnold Machine, an influential British sculptor. His design was used on UK coins from 1968 to 1984 and depicts a young queen wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, one of her most iconic pieces of jewelry. As you can see, the portrait is sharp, clean, and dignified. Surrounding the queen's profile, the inscription reads Elizabeth II DG. Reg FD, this stands for Elizabeth II Di Gratia Regina Fide Fencer, meaning Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen Defender of the Faith. Now, let's flip the coin to the reverse side. In the center, we have the iconic badge of the Prince of Wales. The badge consists of a plume of 3 ostrich feathers within a coronet, with a ribbon below that reads HDN, which translates from German to I serve. This badge has been associated with the title of the Prince of Wales for centuries. Above the badge, we see the words new pence. This is significant because during the early years of decimalization, coins were labeled new pence to distinguish them from the pre-decimal penny. The term new pence was used on British coins between 1971 and 1981, after which it was changed to just pence. Let's take a moment to explore the historical context of this coin. The 1975 2 new pence was minted during a period of great change in Britain's monetary system. In 1971, the UK transitioned to decimal currency, moving away from the old pounds, shillings, and pence system that had been in use for centuries. The 2 new pence coin was part of this new decimal coinage and remained in circulation for many years. So what about the value of this coin today? While the 1975 2 new pence is not considered a rare coin, its condition and demand can impact its value. A well-circulated example, like most found in loose change, typically holds only face value around 2 pence. However, coins in uncirculated or proof condition can fetch higher prices from collectors. Prices for uncirculated coins range between PS1 and PS3, while proof versions can be worth even more, especially if part of a complete coin set. Here's a quick breakdown of the potential value of the 1975 2 new pence coin. Circulated condition face value 2 pence. Uncirculated condition PS1 to PS3. Proof condition PS5 to PS10 or more if part of a complete set. So while it may not be a rare find, the 1975 2 new pence coin is a wonderful piece of British numismatic history. It marks an important era in the UK's transition to decimal currency and for collectors, it's always a joy to have such coins in pristine condition. 2003 UK 2 New Pence. Before we get into the specifics of the 2003 version, let's take a quick look at the history of the 2 pence coin. The 2 pence, or new pence, was introduced in 1971 as part of Britain's decimalisation. Before this, the UK used the old PSSD system pounds, shillings, and pence. The new pence inscription on the reverse of the coin continued until 1981, after which it was changed to 2 pence. However, in 2003, the coin design retained the inscription 2 pence, marking a modern version of this historical coin. Now let's talk about the design of the 2003 UK 2 pence coin. On the obverse, we have the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley. This version of her portrait was introduced in 1998 and remained in use until 2015. You can recognize this design by the distinct RB initials at the base of the Queen's neck. On the reverse, we have the traditional badge of the Prince of Wales. The badge features a plume of ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet, along with the German motto HDN, meaning I serve. This design has been used on the 2 pence coin since its first release in 1971. Now let's talk mintage numbers. In 2003, the Royal Mint produced over 104 million 2 pence coins, so it's not particularly rare. However, what makes some of these coins more valuable to collectors are the details, condition, and mint errors. Coins that have been kept in pristine, uncirculated condition are worth more than ones that have been circulated extensively. Also, keep an eye out for any minting errors. Coins with double strikes, off-center designs, or other production flaws can be worth significantly more to the right buyer. So what's the value of a 2003 UK 2 pence coin? Well, in circulated condition, most of these coins are only worth their face value 2 pence. However, if you have an uncirculated or proof version, or one with a minting error, it could fit specifically at the 1990 penny, which belongs to the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. This coin is from the decimal penny series introduced in 1971 after the UK adopted decimalisation, where £1 equaled 100 pennies. Let's get into the details of the 1991 penny coin. On the obverse, we have the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Raphael Maklouf. It's a classic right-facing bust of the Queen, which was used on UK coins from 1985 to 1997. This is the third portrait of Queen Elizabeth to appear on UK coins during her reign, and you'll notice the inscription Elizabeth II DG, Reg. FD surrounding the portrait, which stands for Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. Now flipping to the reverse, we have the iconic portcullis design, which is a representation of the chain gate used as a symbol of the House of Commons. This design was created by Christopher Ironside and has been a staple of the 1 penny coin since decimalisation. Surrounding the design, you'll see the words 1 penny. The 1990 penny was struck in copper-plated steel, making it less prone to corrosion, but heavier than some of its predecessors. One of the most significant changes in the history of the penny was the reduction in its size. In 1990, the penny had already been issued in a smaller size, which was introduced in 1982. This size change was part of an effort to streamline UKK coinage and make it more practical for everyday use. Before 1982, the penny was larger and made of bronze, but with the change in size came a change in its metal composition as well. The 1990 penny is made of copper-plated steel, whereas older pennies were made of solid bronze. In 1990, millions of these pennies were minted, making it a common coin in circulation. The Royal Mint produced over 419 million 1 penny coins that year. So if you find one of these, it's not exactly rare. However, condition plays a huge role in value, as we'll discuss next. 1991 new 1 penny. The penny has been an essential part of British currency for centuries, dating back to Anglo-Saxon England. But the specific design of the coin we know today was introduced after decimalisation in 1971. The penny, which was part of the pre-decimal system, transformed into what we now know as the new penny, or 1 penny coin worth 1/100th of a British pound. The 1991 1 penny coin features the iconic portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Raphael Maklouf. This was the third portrait used on coins of the Queen, and it was in circulation between 1985 and 1997. Her Majesty is shown wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, one of her most recognizable pieces of jewelry. Now turning to the reverse side, you'll see a detailed depiction of a portcullis, a traditional symbol of the British Parliament, representing the monarchy's protection of its subjects. This design was created by Christopher Ironside and has been a staple of the 1p coin since decimalisation. The 1991 penny was minted in bronze, a composition that continued until 1992 when the UK switched to a copper-plated steel alloy due to rising metal costs. The penny weighs 3.56 grams and has a diameter of 20.3 millimeters. Its smooth edge and round shape make it instantly recognizable. In 1991, the Royal Mint produced millions of these pennies as part of their regular annual minting process. However, unlike rare collectible coins with low mintage, the 1991 penny was produced in large quantities. This means that while it may hold historical and aesthetic value, it's not particularly rare in circulation. So what is the value of the 1991 Elizabeth II 1 penny today? In circulated condition, the coin holds little value beyond its face value of 1 penny. However, uncirculated or mint condition coins can be worth slightly more to collectors. Typically, these coins fetch anywhere between 10 to 50 pence depending on their condition and the demand among collectors. Remember, condition is everything in coin collecting. A coin that's been well preserved without scratches or tarnishing could be more desirable than a heavily circulated piece. Here are a few fun facts about the 1991 penny and UK coinage in general. While the 1p coin may seem insignificant today, the Royal Mint continues to produce millions of them every year, with over 11 billion 1p coins currently in circulation. The portcullis design on the penny isn't just for the 1p coin. It's also the symbol of the Palace of Westminster and can be found on the UK's £10 banknotes. The 1991 penny is made of bronze, but the penny's composition was changed in 1992 to a copper-plated steel due to rising metal prices. This makes pre-1992 pennies, including the 1991 version, somewhat unique. 1985 new 1 penny. To understand the 1985 new 1 penny, we need to rewind a bit and talk about its historical context. This penny is part of the British decimal coinage introduced in 1971 when the UK switched from the old system of pounds, shillings, and pence to a decimal system. The 1 penny coin we're discussing today was struck during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. The specific 1985 penny was minted as part of this ongoing decimal currency system. Though it's a relatively recent coin, it reflects centuries of British coin design evolution. The term new penny was used from 1971 to 1981 to distinguish it from pre-decimal pennies. By 1982, the new was dropped, but the coin maintained its design heritage. Let's break down the design. On the obverse or head side, you'll see the iconic portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. The version used in 1985 was designed by Arnold Machin, and it's the second portrait of the Queen to appear on coins. Queen Elizabeth is shown wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. Around the edge, you'll find the inscription Elizabeth II DG Reg, FD, which stands for Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina Fidei Fidei Defensatrix, meaning Elizabeth II by the grace of God, Queen and Defender of the Faith. On the reverse side of the coin, we have the familiar portcullis with chains. The portcullis is a design associated with the Palace of Westminster, symbolizing Parliament and British governance. This design was created by Christopher Ironside and has been used on the 1 penny coin since decimalization. Below the portcullis, you'll find the denomination 1 penny. Now let's talk about the production details. The 1985 1 penny was struck at the Royal Mint. Like most British coins, it's made of bronze, which gives it a reddish-brown color. The penny weighs 3.56 grams and has a diameter of 20.3 millimeters. 1985 was not a rare year for the production of 1 penny coins. In fact, millions were minted for circulation, making it a relatively common coin. There were also proof versions made for collectors, usually included in annual mint sets, which are more valuable than circulated versions. 2000 new 1 penny. Let's start with a little background. The 2001 penny is part of a long-standing tradition in British coinage, continuing the famous decimalized currency introduced in 1971. These coins have been essential in everyday transactions, but their designs and significance go beyond their face value. Monarch. This coin was issued during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, the longest-serving British monarch at the time. Millennium year, the year 2000, marked the start of a new millennium, which makes this coin an interesting piece from a historical perspective. Minting history: over 1.04 billion of these coins were minted in 2000, making them fairly common in circulation. However, don't let the large mintage fool you. Certain factors can make some of these coins worth more than others. Now let's break down the design of the coin. On the obverse side, we have a right-facing portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley. This portrait was introduced in 1998 and continued until 2015. It's distinctive for its detailed realism, highlighting the Queen's mature appearance. You can also spot the inscription around the edge reading. On the reverse, we see the traditional portcullis with chains, which is an emblem from the Palace of Westminster, symbolizing British parliamentary history. This design is part of the decimal penny series and was created by Christopher Ironside. Details matter. Look closely, and you'll notice small details like the designer's initials under the Queen's neck and intricate lines on the portcullis, which make this coin a work of art. Let's talk numbers. The 2001 penny coin is diameter 20.3 mm, weight 3.56 grams, material bronze plated steel. Before 1992, pennies were made of 97% copper, but the metal composition was changed to steel with a thin layer of copper after that. The 2000 version is part of this new composition, making it slightly different from its older counterparts.